Welcome to podcast number 211. Do you feel failure to the point that you don't make decisions and move forward? Stay with us.
This is the Elevate Construction Podcast, delivering remarkable content for workers, leaders, and companies in construction wanting to take their next step. Get ready to step out of your comfort zone with Jason Schroeder as he encourages you to do better, live a remarkable life, and expect more. Let's go.
Welcome, everybody. I hope you're doing well. My voice is getting much better. I'm excited about tonight's podcast so that I can come up 100%, show up for you, make sure this podcast is remarkable. I have packed this podcast full of great content. It is titled Fail Forward Fast or Fail Forward. That is something that we definitely need to do in our careers, in our lives, in our projects, in order for us to learn quickly enough to adapt and react and to be the kind of leaders that we need to be. So I have a couple of things that I have a number of things that kind of tie together. But before we get into the actual podcast topic, I'd like to cover these. One really neat analogy came today when I was with a client today doing some consulting. And I likened a non-lean assembly line to Culver's. Have you ever been to Culver's? It's a burger joint. They have dairy treats. What do they call them? They call them concretes, but they're essentially like shakes. And they have other kinds of desserts and ice creams, and they sell burgers and fries. It's pretty good stuff. They have gluten-free buns, so my family knows about them. I know they're on the West Coast, at least in Arizona, California, places like that. So also In-N-Out. Some people don't like In-N-Out. All you haters out there, I'm calling you out, bro. In-N-Out is fantastic. It's a lean company. They do lean drive-thrus. Okay, so check this out. So Culver's, this is what they'll do. You go up to the order and you order at the menu with the speaker. They take your order. You go up to the window. They take your food. Or no, they don't take your food. They take your money, and they don't give you your food. They give you a little card or a sticker, and they tell you to pull up. And so you're like, okay, pull up. And then somebody has to walk out and in and out and in. Oh, I need a new napkin. They walk all the way back in. Oh, no, I need barbecue sauce. Walk out and in, out and in. And it's this delay. And I've never had anything really go as slow as going through a Culver's drive-thru. Now, it looks like it's going really fast. And their stores are designed after it. It looks like it's going fast because they take the order, they take your money, they send you on your way. But there's so much waste in that system. And it's because they've detached the throughput of the system, meaning taking the order, taking the money, and giving the food are all part of one overall process. You can't detach the ordering from the payment and be successful, or from the delivering of food and be successful. It's literally make the order, pay for it, receive the food. Make the order, pay for it, receive the food. And so they're like, okay, we'll go fast through the making of the order. We'll go fast through the payment, but then we'll delay and detach and add waste to getting you your food, which just visually makes everybody in the drive-thru feel like they're going fast, but it's really not helping the overall throughput of the system because it's adding waste. There's extra walking, there's extra motion, there are extra defects. They're over-processing from these defects. It's really not a great situation. And so it's not a lean system, and it's very frustrating, and all it does is masks waste because people think that they're going fast, but they're really not going fast. Now, let's take In-N-Out, for example. In-N-Out is a lean company, but when you do your order, then pay, and then get your food, it's like, I'm going to snap my fingers here. It's like clockwork, right? They have longer lines out in the front, but that's the true throughput the true rate of throughput, the true throughput of the system. And In-N-Out, instead of delaying the back end and falsifying the actual rate of throughput, they actually will send people out ahead in the line to take the lines earlier to prepare. And so the same thing in construction, we're like, hey, let's just, in construction, we're like, hey, go do this area fast, and then just come back to actually finish the product, right? Like Culver's. But what we should be doing is doing a lot of pre-planning, moving people forward in the ordering process in the line, and then getting people to pay and receive their food all at the same time as a part of one piece flow. And so I just want to challenge you as you're thinking about lean, go to Culver's one night and then go to In-N-Out one night, and you'll see what I'm talking about. You cannot detach the delivery of the product from all of the other steps. It's all one process, and we need to focus on the rhythm and the rate at which the entire process goes, not individual parts and pieces of it. And if you do have a disparity between when you order, pay, and receive the food, it's better to move the disparity up in the pre-planning and get ahead of it instead of delaying it by sending cars around and giving them their food late and making some poor worker walk in and out, open the door, forget things. And then quite frankly, people at Culver's just kind of give up. They're like, I'm not going to make that person walk all the way back in to get me another fork. They just give up. I've done it before. So, if I'm at In-N-Out, I'm right there at the window and I get my food and it's warm. That's the other thing is when I get my food at In-N-Out, you haters out there that don't like In-N-Out, I love you. But man, I could eat me an In-N-Out burger with those grilled onions and the fries, and it's so good and it's warm and it's like the cheese is melted. When I get a Culver's burger, half the time it's stinking cold because of all the over processing and the waiting and the detaching from the overall process and the throughput there. It's not a good deal. So that's one thing that's been on my mind. So we need to get things back into the right perspective. And I wanted to really challenge you guys to think about lean as In-N-Out and efficiency, a resource efficiency, which is unlean. Batching is Culver's. So let's go into the next part of the podcast. What am I excited about in life? I'm excited about boot camps. I just had to say it one more time. I'm recovering right now. I think it's fantastic to go to boot camps. It's over the top cool. On the way home, I was listening to a Katy Perry song, Hot and Cold, and I was getting that feeling kind of moving around in the vehicle. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's that feeling. When you're moving, hearing, smelling, thinking about positive things with good people, that's what we're creating. The smells, the sights, the sounds in boot camps all lead you to this life-changing experience. And I was like, what could I compare it to when I'm selling it? Like somebody's like, what's great about a boot camp? I've got two. I came up with one analogy, and then Brandon Montero gave me another one. I think you'll like his better. But mine was, if you prepare for an Olympic gold medal and you win in the Olympics with your team, and you get awarded the gold medal, and then you go to the after party, and you and your team have trained this dance routine, and you guys go into a flash mob mode, dance into this music, and everybody's watching you and they're applauding, and it's just this great night. And then the feeling you get right in that moment, that's what it's like to be at a boot camp. And then I was explaining that, and Brandon Montero was like, well, it's actually like in the Never-Ending Story movie when Atreyu first rode on Falcor, and he's got his hand up in the air and screaming and saying yes. And I'm like, you know what, Brandon, you got me on that. Anyway, I'm really excited because we get to change people's lives. And I'm just going to get more and more fanatical about the experience that people get in these boot camps, but also protect my voice. Here's some feedback that we got. I discovered this book in Jason's podcast in December 2020. It has given me clarity about what we need to do to elevate the role of superintendent in our organization to be successful with Lean and the Last Planner system. Our executive leadership team has read the book, and we have made it available to our field operations leaders. It is shaping our conversations, our training, and the direction of our field operations of the future. The book lays a clear foundation for behaviors and expectations of a superintendent. The writing is direct and action-oriented. Man, I love that. Super good feedback. You know who you are that sent that to me. I love you. So I want to keep getting these sections that didn't get out in our book. This would have been if it made the cut, because I was like, we're only putting stuff in here that's an 11 out of 10. And so this was only a 10 out of 10. This was going to be Principle 13 in one of the parts, and it was titled Flexible and Nimble. I'll read it to you. Master builders are always flexible and nimble. The lean concept is to make decisions slowly with the consensus of the team, but to act quickly when a decision is made. Great master builders don't always have to have have it their way, but they will always implement and enforce the collective decision of the team once a decision has been reached. Superintendents will have command and control for those decisions to implement a stable environment. Command and control is mentioned as a bad thing in today's industry, but that is not the case. Command and control is not a negative thing. Being a dictatorial leader followed up by command and control is a bad practice, but going with the decision-making power of a team and then having command and control is good. Having a collaborative and integrated environment amongst the team, deciding as a team, and having a superintendent enforce the team's decisions with command and control is absolutely a good method. No plan will long sustain engagement with the enemy, though. If we remember back to the example that Napoleon set for us, we will understand that every plan must include a counterattack or a counterplan that can be implemented immediately once our plan sustains the engagement with the enemy and needs adjustment. Superintendents must be able and are authorized to be nimble and adapt when necessary. There must always be alternatives to a plan A that can be utilized in the field. Just as the most nimble and adaptable military groups or armies win the day, so too will the most nimble and adaptable construction teams win the day when faced with challenges. And that's absolutely true. And so what I want to say is that the conflict is we're not failing forward fast enough. We're not being flexible and nimble enough on our project sites. Let me tell you a quick analogy. And if you ever do this with me in an actual event, there will be enough people that don't know it and enough of a need to work as a team to where even if you know the secret, it won't work. So I'm just going to tell you the game, the rules, and how it's played. So it's what I call opposing lines. And you get a series of lines, and you split the people up in an event into two teams, and they face towards each other, and there's an empty square in the middle. And the rules are everybody must stay in their square, and they can only move forward. They can skip around somebody facing in the opposite direction, meaning facing them, but they can't skip around their own team member. And the goal is everybody facing one direction needs to end up in the complete opposite end of the line of squares, and same for the other team. So they have to pass each other. And the way to get through this game is the steps involved in teaming, which is appoint a leader, collaborate with the group, make a decision, communicate that decision for understanding, and then adapt from there. And it's really hard for people to do this because they're not used to following those steps within a team. It's frustrating for them. People start to silo, talk separately. They forget to appoint a leader. They just forget these teaming concepts. So they go through it and struggle. Well, there's a key. Oh, and the secret to the game is that you can't, if you end up in a spot where where two people are right next to each other facing in the same direction, out ahead of where they originally started, then the game has stopped because they can't advance forward anymore. And so that's how you lose. As soon as you see that, you have to reset the lines and everyone goes back to where they were and you have to start all over again. Well, once the team appoints a leader, collaborates, figures out what the problem is and communicates that problem to everyone, then they can start figuring it out and everyone can act together as a part of this team, and it's remarkable, and they win the game. So the reason I bring up this game is because when youth play this game, they start to fail so quickly in experimenting with this that they figure it out within like 10 minutes. And adults can go 40 minutes to an hour, and it's maddening because they're brain fornicating everything. They're like, well, what if we do this? Well, we think about this. And it's like, oh my gosh, you just took 12 minutes. You just took 12 minutes to think about this when you already had a plan. Like, it's a lean concept to make decisions slowly with the consensus of the team and then implement fast. But it never said make decisions slowly with the consensus of the team and then second guess yourself and cover the same process 10 more times. Come on, adults, let's go. In fact, the last time I played it, part of the reason my voice went out in this last boot camp is I went into drill instructor mode and like started getting after him. I'm like, holy crud muffins, guys, like you're killing me with this, because they kept being so hesitant that they were not willing to fail forward. And so we have to get to that point. The other thing is when teams do that, it also shows up elsewhere, like in boot camps or on their job site or other places. They're so hesitant to make a decision that they don't fail forward, and they don't fail forward fast enough. And so we really have to get to a point where we're flexible and nimble and adaptive, and we can make these decisions with the team, but implement fast and fail forward. And so there's a couple of concepts here. I'm going to repeat what I'm about to tell you probably 2 times, but when we do mock-ups on a project quickly, we fail forward fast. When we do JHAs and have them reviewed properly and have to make revisions, we fail forward fast on paper. When we issue Takt plans and get multiple people checking that on a single sheet of paper because it's visible, that's failing forward faster. When we have really good meetings with good collaboration, that's failing forward faster because we're going to make some mistakes. We'll get to the answer more quickly. Pre-construction, when we're planning things, if we collaborate with a group, we're failing forward faster. Making decisions with the team, if we're like, I don't know for a fact that this is going to work. I don't know if that bathroom plan that we want to do is going to work. I don't know if that hoist layout is going to work. I don't know if putting the materials here is going to work. I don't know if this is going to work. Well, if the team decides and it's safe, let's get it done, and we'll find out if it works more quickly, and we'll get to the right answer more quickly because it's a long project and we need to get to the right answer. Fail forward faster. But here's a disclaimer. Do not fail with safety, and do not fail with high-risk items. Fail on the paper side of it. Fail in the pre-planning. Fail in the draft form. Fail in the collaboration. Fail in the meeting. Fail in the conversations, and put those draft ideas out there and speak up and step up, and then you'll actually fail inside those non-critical moments. Like with pouring concrete, you can fail in the lift drawing portion or the forming portion and the double check portion, but if you place concrete, like, it's too late. You're jackhammering that out. So fail forward faster in the moments when you actually can. So that's absolutely critical and something that I want you to remember. Fail forward faster. Now, here's some keys that I just learned from Entrepreneurship 2.0. They did studies on people who make decisions quickly and people who make decisions slowly. And they're actually statistically, and I've said this before too in a podcast, there isn't one or the other that pans out most of the time. It's not make decisions quickly all the time. And even though we say that in lean, Japanese culture, make decisions slowly, statistically it isn't always slow decisions that make that make for good decisions. It's how much time do you have before the risk profile changes on this? Meaning, if you have time to make the decision, keep debating it, arguing about it, and collaborating. But if you're like, let me give you an example. You just messed up a wall, and you can either ask the engineer to fix it or you can rip the darn thing out, right? There's a point in the decision-making process where even after you've collaborated, if you wait any longer, the schedule impact alone on that wall is going to cost you 10 times more money than just ripping the darn thing out is. When does your risk profile change to make that decision? And within that time, whatever time that you have, get the diverse opinions with people speaking up and having opposing opinions with healthy conflict with the team. And that's what you need to do. So it's not always fast and it's always slow. It's take the time to make the decision slowly up until the point when your risk profile changes and it's a greater risk to wait any longer. And make sure that you have the dialogue and the debate. Make sure the decision you're making is clear to everyone, and then unify. And this is what Jim Collins said in his book, Entrepreneurship 2.0. He says, studies have shown that the galvanizing of the team, the unifying of the team once a decision has been made, is one of the most key considerations. Meaning, is even if there were 2 or 3 dissenting votes or people that weren't bought in, did everyone leave the meeting with their thumbs up, violently and radically willing to support the idea, even though it wasn't theirs or it wasn't their first option? And if the answer is yes, then you'll be successful. If the answer is no, you have some people that need to deselect themselves or select themselves for removal off the bus. You know, I've personally been in an organization that was heading in a different direction, making decisions that I didn't think were safe or ethical. And I selected myself. I fired myself because I couldn't get on board with the ultimate decisions that they were making. So here's the steps. Make decisions within the time frame until your risk profile changes and it gets too risky to wait, right? Have that dialogue and debate. Make sure once a decision's made that decision is clear, and then unify the team and make sure that even if somebody was of a different opinion, they're not going to go out and dissent and tear down from the unity of the group, basically. And so that's how you do that. And so as a team, you're going to have to be able to make decisions like this and be nimble and adapt and fail forward faster. It's just going to have to be something that you do. So once again, when you do mockups, you fail forward fast. When you brainstorm on JHAs, you fail forward fast. When you go visit other projects and see what they're doing that's wrong and learn from their mistakes, you're failing forward fast. When you get draft schedules and draft budgets out to group and draft plans and draft logistics, you're failing forward fast on paper. When you collaborate in meetings ahead of decisions, you're failing forward faster. Pre-construction, you're failing forward faster. When you decide, hey, we made that mistake, let's just rip it out, do it the right way, you're failing forward faster. When you're making decisions out in the field with your field leaders and actually taking the time to make good decisions, you're failing forward faster. There's an unsafe foreman on your job, temporarily removing them, you're failing forward faster. You have to get to the point where you're making decisions like a field commander in the right intervals at the right speed to be successful. Now, I didn't say stumble forward without the right amount of pre-planning. I said fail forward faster in the right ways, especially on paper and pre-construction or in planning, pre-construction rather than in planning. And you must adapt and react. Patton said, a good plan violently executed today is better than a perfect plan next week. And I will always 100% believe that. We have to be a little bit faster, or a lot faster in some cases, in making decisions, because we're going to lose the time that we had to overcome and adapt and overcome and do the right thing. On we go.
Please join us next time in elevating the entire construction experience for workers, leaders, and companies coast to coast. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to share with your construction colleagues and help us spread the word by rating, subscribing, and leaving a review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate it. We'll catch you next time on the Elevate Construction Podcast.